I am Roger Paran, second year B.Ed of College Department of Santa Cruz Mission. This morning, I just want to report about the Assure model, which is my topic for this morning. By the way, I just want to tell something. Technology, it is important way to deliver our topic, to relaying the message clearly, and to make our work rather, tasks, and other activities easiest. For this situation you are facing toward pandemic or coronavirus. So we have no face-to-face classes, right? But through technology, we can continue our classes, we continue our learnings, we continue our teaching by the use of technology. This morning, for us to be guided, let's read first our objectives. Objectives. First, identify learning theories through principles applied in the use and design of learning lesson with technology, and applied the Assure model in crafting a lesson. These our objectives lead us to know our discussion for this morning. Assure model is a guide in crafting an instructional flow that can guide a teacher in integrating appropriate technology and the media into the instruction process. So, Assure model will help the teacher to instruct the pupils, to instruct the student, and to deliver the topic easiest and clearly. Because Assure model, it is the best way to make our instruction better. Like for example, the teacher use poster, the teacher use magazine, the teacher use slogan, the teacher use any use of magazines or use of tools or technology to instruct the pupils to learn better and to deliver the topics clearly and for the pupils' outcomes. And also, it is refers a systematic approach that the teacher can use when writing instructional plan. It is a systematic approach. It is the teacher guide. It is the teacher flow. It is the teacher procedures to instruct and to approach the pupils for in writing an instruction plan. In writing a lesson plan, it is also the best way for the teacher to know the flow on how he and she deliver the topic clearly. And we have here also, this model is composed of 6 essential steps in planning instruction. So we have here the 6th model to planning the instruction better on how we deliver our topic clearly. The first step is analyze learners. Analyze learners means with the learner as the center of instruction process. The initial consideration to get a clear picture of the learners, the learning style, age level, interests or preferences, background, spatial need, and cultural diversity. So we should to analyze the learners. We should to analyze the age of the learners. We should to know the background, the level, and the cultural diversity, and the preferences, and the interests to make our discussion clearly, to avoid some conflicts beyond toward our student, and through that we should aim and reach the best teaching ever. And the next step is state objectives. We should to write our objectives like here, example. In order for the student to avoid out of the topic, we should to write our objectives and to know the flow of our discussion, the guide of our discussion, the procedure of our discussion. Because here, state objectives, this is the main instruction guide. This is the main instruction guide for the teacher that will direct the flow to reach the target. That will direct the flow to reach the target of our objectives, known as the outcomes of the lesson. The third step is select methods, medium, and materials. Select method materials means selecting the appropriate way of delivering the lesson and the using applicable media or technology can effectively make learners acquire understanding of the lesson or gain the competence desired. So the teacher must select the methods, must select the other tools in use of teaching, in use of the discussion of the topics. The fourth step is utilize methods, media, and materials. When the teachers select the methods, when we use to select the method, when we use other tools, we must to analyze and utilize and to study if that methods or media or materials is easy for the student, is good for the student. And then fifth step is require learners' participation. Means student engage is an unimportant element. The learners have to be made to understand the role in taking accountability of their own learning. We should to engage the student in terms of technology. And we should to know the learner participation. So, as a teacher or with a teacher, we engage the pupils in terms of those activity. And we engage the student by the use of technology. And we should know the ability because the student have the accountability, have the right to use technology in order to enhance their ability and enhance their skills. And also, it is the best way to know the discussion better. And last but not the least, the sixth step is evaluate student performance. With a teacher, we should to evaluate the performance of the student. We should to evaluate the learning of the student because evaluation of the student means assessing learner's performance can take place across phases of the lesson. It is the best way while the teacher know if the pupils or the student learn better or there is the later learnings to get in our discussion. And however, it is emphasized that the basic rule is that evaluation should be congruent to the learning outcome provided in the lesson. The most important is evaluation. Why? Because the teacher should know if that pupils or student learn better. It is the best way of the use of Azure model will effective for the teacher. And also, if that effective, we should continue to use the Azure model and we should do evaluation for the pupils and the student for his and her learnings for the topics. We have here also, when writing the script, you need to consider important element. When we write our lesson plan or our visual aids, we should to consider our element. The first element is point of view. The point of view means we should to broaden our mind and we should to engage our mind for our environment. And we should to know the background of the pupils. And we should to know the story, if that story good for the pupils. For like example, the parables, like example, the fables, like example, the short story. And we should to know the point of view or the main idea is for good for the student. And next element is dramatic question. When we use the story, when we create the story, we should to impart the dramatic question. The dramatic question means for the question to give the student or the pupils to know better. Para mas malaman ng bata, yung story na yan is mahalaga pala. So, to analyze the pupils, to synthesize the pupils that for that story it is the most important in their life. And then third element is emotional content. Yung content ng story natin na gagawin, kailangan it is the most valuable and the most important. And also the economy. Kung kailangan gumawa tayo ng story, must we have connection in our economy to lift the student mind, to encourage the student that we should to love our economy or our environment. And the voice, the fifth element. So with the teacher, we must read aloud for the student and we should to do action for the student. We should the first to do and before the student or the pupils. The next, soundtrack. We use other, like example, picture. we use PowerPoint or other Microsoft or the other tools or the other equipment in order for the student or the pupils learn better. And the last is pacing. We use pacing for the good and we use pacing for the pupils learning. And also, when we write our storyboard, the storyboard will lead us to know our the best discussion. When you're writing a digital story, it is important that you have the content written. The substance is important to be clear what is the message all about. For example of storyboard here. This is example of storyboard. The storyboard, for example, this is my story. So we use pictures in order for the student. And here the other example, photo collage of me in the army. So he is the army. It is the army's, yung tinatawag nila na kampo ng mga army. Yan siya. Another example is American are discuss subataan abuse. So he is the picture. Another example, how recovery helped me. Other storyboard, we can use fables. We can use parables. We can use the story of Jesus Christ and other books and magazines to deliver, and also the comics. We use that in the storyboard in order for the student, for the pupils to learn better. But don't forget to use the word technology. It is the best way to deliver our topic learning. And for this morning, this is our topic. I hope you learn better. I hope you know how to use the Azure model to instruct the best way for the student and for the pupils. That could be all. Thank you and God bless.